This woman says she used to work with Baltasar Engonga in the same institution, the National Financial Investigation Agency, but it eventually ended with them sleeping together, cheating on her husband.
I never thought I would be the kind of woman who cheats. I had a good husband, loyal, steady, predictable. But maybe that was the problem. Predictability. Life had become a routine: wake up, go to work, come home, eat dinner, and sleep. My husband and I spoke, but never about anything deep. We laughed, but never from the soul. Passion had faded into obligation, and I had long stopped feeling desired. But then there was him. Baltasar Engonga. The man who commanded fear and respect in equal measure. The head of the National Financial Investigation Agency of Equitorial Guinea. A man with power, influence, and the ability to destroy lives with a single decision, and the man who, against all logic and reason, became my secret obsession. I worked beneath him as the CCTV manager. My job was to monitor all the surveillance cameras within our institution, to ensure there were no breaches, no leaks, and no threats to national security. Ironically, my role was to catch secrets, not to create them. The first temptation. It began with a look. A lingering gaze that lasted a second too long. A smirk that made my stomach tighten. The way he said my name, deliberate, slow, as if testing it. I told myself I was imagining things. He was the director. I was just a department head. He had more important things to focus on than me. But then came the small gestures. A hand resting on my lower back as he guided me through the office. A late-night meeting that ended with us standing too close, neither of us moving away. A private lunch where his fingers brushed mine when he passed me the glass of wine. I should have pulled away. I should have walked out. But I didn't. I stayed, craving the attention, the danger, the thrill. Until, one evening, we both stopped pretending. The first night. It happened in his office, a place covered by the very cameras I controlled. I had been called in to review a high-profile case involving a money laundering operation. The agency had been tracking suspicious movements through offshore accounts, and my team had compiled footage of a suspect entering and exiting financial institutions at odd hours. It was late, past midnight, and the office was empty except for the two of us. I sat beside him at his desk, going through files on my laptop. Our arms touched. I could feel his body heat. "You see everything, don't you?" he asked, his voice deep and smooth. I swallowed. "It's my job. And do you like what you see?" I turned my head, meeting his gaze. His eyes were dark, filled with something unspoken but undeniable. The air was thick with tension, and for the first time in years, I felt wanted. The kiss was inevitable, a slow, deliberate descent into something we both knew was dangerous, forbidden but irresistible. The hidden affair. We became reckless, yet careful. I knew where the cameras had blind spots. I knew which recordings could mysteriously disappear. We met in empty boardrooms after hours. We scheduled business trips just to steal moments together. He sent me coded messages through classified reports hidden between official documents. It was exhilarating. The secrecy made it more addictive. I would come home to my husband, lie next to him in bed, and think about Baltasar's hands on my skin, his lips tracing every inch of me, his voice whispering things that set my body on fire. I told myself that what my husband didn't know wouldn't hurt him. That I could have both, a stable marriage and a passionate affair. But passion is like fire, it spreads. And soon, the flames burned out of control. One evening, I was reviewing the security footage logs, as I did every night. I had built a system to erase any incriminating videos before anyone else could access them. But that night I found something terrifying. A duplicate recording of me and Baltasar in one of our secret meetings. A meeting that should have been erased. Someone had retrieved a deleted file. My hands trembled as I clicked play. The footage wasn't just of us talking, it was of us kissing, touching, exposing our secret to whoever had found it. Then, a message flashed across my screen. "You are being watched." Panic shot through me. Who had access to my system? Who else knew? And what did they want? I looked around my office, my heart hammering in my chest. Had my husband found out? Had a rival at the agency discovered my affair? Or worse, was Baltasar the one testing my loyalty? Because in a place like this, secrets weren't just dangerous. They were deadly. My breath came in shallow gasps as I stared at the message on my screen. "You are being watched." The room felt smaller, the walls pressing in. My office, once my safe space, now felt like a trap. I immediately checked the server logs. Only a handful of people had clearance to access or recover deleted security footage. I was one of them. Baltasar was another. And then there were 3 other senior investigators, men who had no reason to suspect me. I picked up my phone, my fingers shaking as I typed a message to Baltasar. "We have a problem." Seconds later, my phone rang. His voice was low, controlled, but I could hear the tension beneath it. "What happened?" "I don't know who, but someone recovered a deleted file." I swallowed hard. "A file of us." Silence. Then, a sharp inhale. "Where are you?" "My office." "Lock the door." "Stay there." "I'm coming." I obeyed, my hands still trembling as I turned the lock. A minute passed, then another. Every sound in the building felt amplified, the hum of the air conditioning, the distant footsteps in the hallway. Then, a knock. 3 sharp raps. Our signal. I unlocked the door, and Baltasar stepped in, his expression unreadable. "What exactly did you see?" he asked. I pulled up the recovered footage, playing it without sound. The screen flickered to life, showing him and me, bodies pressed together, lips locked in a passionate embrace in one of the meeting rooms. The timestamp was from 2 weeks ago. Baltasar watched it without blinking, then leaned down, scanning the metadata. "This was recovered remotely," he muttered. "Whoever did this wasn't at the office." I felt a lump in my throat. "You think it was an external breach?" He shook his head. "No. This wasn't hacked from the outside. This was someone on the inside who knew exactly where to look." That was worse. I crossed my arms, trying to suppress the rising fear. "What do they want?" Baltasar didn't answer right away. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a USB drive, handing it to me. "Copy the footage onto this, then wipe every trace from the system." I hesitated. "But..." "No buts," he cut me off, his voice sharp. "If someone is using this against us, we need to control the narrative before they make a move." I knew he was right. I inserted the USB and began the process, my fingers flying across the keyboard. As I worked, I felt his eyes on me. "Do you regret it?" he asked suddenly. I froze for half a second before continuing to type. "No," I whispered. "Do you?" He stepped behind me, his hands resting lightly on my shoulders. His touch sent a shiver down my spine. "Never." The first threat. By the time I wiped the footage, it was nearly 2 a.m. Baltasar insisted on driving me home, but I refused. "That would be too obvious," I said. Instead, I walked to my car alone, glancing over my shoulder more than once. The parking lot was dimly lit, the streetlights flickering. The entire city of Malabo was asleep, but I felt wide awake. As I reached my car, my phone buzzed with an unknown number. I hesitated before answering. "Hello?" A distorted voice came through the speaker. You're good at erasing things. But some things can't stay buried. My blood ran cold. I spun around, scanning the parking lot. Nothing. No one. The line went dead. I got into my car, locking the doors immediately. My hands were shaking as I texted Baltasar. They called me. His response was instant. Baltasar, go home. Don't talk to anyone. We'll fix this. But I knew deep in my gut that things were far from fixed. A marriage in jeopardy. When I got home, my husband was awake. Sitting in the dark, waiting for me. Where were you? His voice was calm, but I could hear the edge beneath it. I forced a smile, slipping off my heels. Working late. A new case. He stared at me for a long moment. Then he said, I know you're lying. My heart nearly stopped. I forced myself to keep my expression neutral. What are you talking about? He leaned forward, his elbows on his knees. You come home late. You smell like someone else's cologne. And when you sleep, you talk in your dreams. His jaw tightened. You say his name. I swallowed hard. Who? Baltasar. I felt the ground beneath me shift. I don't know what you're. Don't, he interrupted, his voice cold. Don't insult me. I opened my mouth to lie again, but something in his eyes made my throat tighten. He wasn't just guessing. He knew. A lump formed in my throat. What are you going to do? He exhaled slowly, rubbing his temples. Nothing. That threw me off. What? I'm not a fool, he said. I know who he is. I know what he's capable of. He looked at me, his expression unreadable. But do you? A chill ran down my spine. Was he warning me? Or was there something he wasn't telling me? Because at that moment, I realized something terrifying. My husband wasn't just a victim in this. He was part of the game. Between the mysterious message, the recovered footage, and my husband's unsettling reaction, I knew I was losing control. I needed answers. And to get them, I had to do something risky. The next day, instead of going straight to work, I took a detour. There was one person in the agency who specialized in uncovering digital traces, a man named Joaquin Enz, the agency's top cybersecurity expert. If anyone could track the person who had recovered the footage, it was him. But as I approached Joaquin's office, I noticed something strange. His door was ajar. The lights were off. The entire room looked abandoned. And then, I saw it. A blood stain on the carpet. My stomach lurched. The sight of blood made my pulse hammer. I took a shaky breath, stepping carefully into Joaquin Enz's office. The place was eerily quiet, the smell of iron thick in the air. The stain on the carpet was fresh, a deep red smear leading toward his desk. My throat tightened. Joaquin wasn't just missing, something had happened to him. I scanned the room, my CCTV instincts kicking in. No sign of forced entry. No sign of a struggle. Just silence. I reached for my phone, my fingers unsteady as I texted Baltasar. Joaquin is gone. Blood in his office. A reply came almost instantly. Baltasar, leave. Now. But before I could move, my phone vibrated again, this time another unknown number. I hesitated, then answered. A distorted voice, the same one from the parking lot. You're looking in the wrong places. But we are watching you. A sharp click, the call ended. A cold sweat broke out on my skin. I knew I couldn't stay here. But as I turned to leave, I caught sight of something on Joaquin's desk, a flash drive half hidden beneath a pile of papers. I grabbed it and slipped it into my pocket before stepping out of the office. I didn't know what was on it, but I had a feeling Joaquin had left it for someone. Or maybe for me. That night, I didn't go home. Instead, I went to Baltasar's private residence. A place so secret that even most government officials didn't know about it. It wasn't his official home, the one he showed to the world. No, this was where he conducted his real business. And where he kept me. I parked my car in a secluded spot, glancing around before stepping out. His security detail recognized me immediately, letting me in without a word. They knew better than to ask questions. As soon as I entered his study, he was waiting. Dressed in a crisp white shirt, the sleeves rolled up, his dark eyes locked onto me the second I walked in. He didn't speak. He just took a slow step toward me, his gaze filled with something raw and dangerous. I didn't wait. I closed the distance between us, pressing my lips to his, needing to feel something real in the middle of all this chaos. He responded instantly, his arms locking around my waist, his grip possessive. The kiss was intense, urgent, desperate, consuming. It wasn't just about lust. It was about control. About losing ourselves in each other, if only for a moment. Baltasar backed me up against the desk, his hands roaming, his breath heavy against my neck. "You shouldn't have gone there," he murmured between kisses. "I had to," I whispered. "Joaquin is missing. Someone left a message for me." He pulled back slightly, his gaze sharp. "A message?" I reached into my pocket, pulling out the flash drive. "I found this in his office before I left." Baltasar took it, his expression unreadable. "We'll check it." But he didn't move right away. Instead, he brushed his fingers over my jaw, tilting my face up to meet his eyes. "You're in deeper than I wanted you to be," he admitted. I swallowed hard. "So are you." A smirk flickered at the corner of his lips, dark and knowing. "Yes. But I've always played this game." His hand slid down my back, pulling me closer. "The question is, can you survive it?" An hour later, we were in his private office, going through the contents of the flash drive. It contained only one file, a video recording. I clicked play. The screen flickered to life, showing Joaquin Enz sitting at his desk, looking visibly shaken. He was speaking to the camera. "If you're watching this, it means I've disappeared. I don't know how much time I have left. But listen carefully. Someone inside the agency is betraying us. It's not just about financial crimes anymore. There's something bigger, something involving the highest levels of government." Baltasar and I exchanged a tense glance. Joaquin continued. "I found a hidden file in the CCTV archives. A file that shouldn't exist. And I think they killed someone and erased the footage." My pulse quickened. Joaquin leaned closer to the camera, his voice dropping to a whisper. "But here's the real problem. The deletion logs show 2 people had access to that file before it disappeared." He paused, inhaling sharply. "Baltasar Engonga and you." I felt the blood drain from my face. Baltasar's expression hardened, his jaw tightening. The video ended. Silence. A weight settled between us. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. It didn't make sense. I had never seen that file. I never accessed it. But if the logs said my credentials were used, that meant someone had set me up. Baltasar exhaled slowly, his fingers drumming against the desk. "You know what this means, don't you?" I nodded, my throat dry. "They are framing me." His eyes darkened. "And that means they're coming for you next. Passion, power, and a war in the shadows." Everything had changed in a single night. I wasn't just a woman having an affair anymore. I was a target. Someone inside the agency knew about me and Baltasar. Someone wanted us exposed or worse, eliminated. And now, Joaquin was gone. Baltasar stood, pacing. His mind was already working through possible suspects. But I couldn't think about anything except one terrifying possibility. What if my husband was involved? He had known about the affair. He had warned me about Baltasar. But what if he wasn't just warning me? What if he was playing his own game? Baltasar stopped pacing and looked at me. You need to decide right now how far you're willing to go. I met his gaze. What do you mean? He stepped closer, lowering his voice. If they want to frame you, they'll make sure there's no way out. The only way to survive, his lips brushed against my ear, is to play dir dirtier than them. Before the threats. Before the missing investigator. Before I became a target. There was a moment, a single kiss in my office that changed everything. It happened late one evening, long after most of the staff had left. The glow of the security monitors was the only light in the room, casting flickering shadows on the walls. I had been reviewing camera footage, my mind deep in work, when I heard a knock at the door. I looked up. Baltasar. Dressed in a tailored dark suit, his presence filled the small office instantly. He didn't speak right away, just leaned against the doorframe, watching me with that unreadable expression that always sent a thrill through me. I swallowed, forcing myself to keep my composure. Working late, director. A smirk played on his lips. I could say the same about you. He stepped inside, closing the door behind him. The click of the lock sent my pulse racing. I turned back to my screens, pretending to be unaffected. If this is about the surveillance request, I've already. I didn't come here for that. His voice was low, smooth, a quiet warning and a promise all at once. I felt my breath hitch. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, but I didn't type. I couldn't. Then, I felt it. The warmth of his presence behind me. He hadn't touched me, not yet, but I could feel him. His breath near my ear, his cologne dark, musky, intoxicating. My pulse P. I watch you, he murmured, his voice sending shivers down my spine. You think you go unnoticed, but you don't. I turned slowly, meeting his gaze. I don't know what you're talking about. His smirk deepened. You do. A pause. The air between us. Thick with tension. I should have stepped away. I should have stopped this. But I didn't. Baltasar lifted a hand, his fingers brushing a strand of hair from my face, a small gesture, but electric. And then, he kissed me. Not tentative. Not soft. Hungry. Demanding. Possessive. I gasped against his lips, my back pressing against the desk as he leaned into me. His hands gripped my waist, pulling me flush against him, as if he had waited too long for this moment. I should have stopped. I should have said no. But I melted into him instead, my hands tangling in his shirt, pulling him closer. His mouth trailed down my jaw, to the sensitive spot on my neck. I tilted my head, giving in, feeling my world shift beneath me. We shouldn't be doing this, I whispered, but even I didn't believe my own words. He pulled back just enough to look at me, his dark eyes filled with something dangerous. No, he agreed. But that won't stop us. And it didn't. That night, we crossed a line we could never uncross. That was the first kiss. The first taste of something forbidden. But it wouldn't be the last. Because once we started, we couldn't stop. Our affair had started with a single kiss in my office, a moment of weakness that turned into something I couldn't escape. It wasn't just lust, it was power, secrecy, and danger all wrapped into one. With each stolen glance, each whispered conversation, then every night spent tangled in sheets that weren't my husband's, I knew I was playing with fire. But I thought I was careful. I thought we were untouchable. I was wrong. The night my husband caught me, I had no idea my world was about to come crashing down. I was at Baltasar's private residence, lying beside him in the dimly lit room, my body still warm from his touch. The tension of the threats against us, Joaquin's disappearance, and the missing CCTV footage had momentarily faded. But then my phone buzzed. A message. From my husband. Come home. Now. My stomach clenched. I sat up, suddenly uneasy. Baltasar watched me carefully. What is it? I showed him the message. His jaw tightened. He knows. I shook my head. He suspects. But he doesn't have proof. Baltasar's expression didn't change. Then why do you look so afraid? Because deep down, I knew. Something was wrong. I got dressed quickly and left without another word, my heart pounding with every mile I drove home. The moment I walked through the front door, I knew I was caught. My husband was waiting in the living room, his hands clasped together, his expression eerily calm. That's when I noticed the TV screen behind him. And on it a post-security camera recording. My blood ran cold. He picked up the remote and pressed play. And there I was in my office with Baltasar, locked in that fast kiss, my body pinned against my desk. The video wasn't just footage. It was proof. Undeniable. Inescapable. I felt my knees go weak. Where did you get that? He tilted his head. You should know, my love. After all, you manage the CCTV archives. A sharp realization hit me like a punch to the gut. The missing footage, it wasn't deleted. It was stolen. And my husband had it. I tried to speak, but my throat was dry. How long have you known? His lips curled into a bitter smile. Long enough. He stood, stepping closer, his eyes unreadable. You think I didn't notice the late nights? The way you pulled away from me? The way you said his name in your sleep? My breath hitched. I just needed proof, he continued. And now, I have it. I swallowed hard. What are you going to do? He exhaled, shaking his head. That depends on you. A long pause. Then, he handed me a manila envelope. I opened it with shaky fingers. Inside was a divorce agreement. And a USB drive. I glanced up at him, my heart pounding. What's this? His voice was quiet, but firm. A choice. If you sign the papers and leave quietly, this footage stays between us. He met my gaze, his expression cold. But if you fight me, if you try to hold on to our marriage or deny what you've done, then this video goes straight to the authorities. I could barely breathe. He wasn't just divorcing me. He was giving me an ultimatum. Walk away or be ruined. I looked down at the papers in my hands. The weight of my choices, of my betrayal, pressed down on me. I had lost him. I had lost my marriage.